Welcome to Transformations with Tara. I'm Tara Sutphen, and my guest today is Devra. And Devra Jacobs has written a book called A Happy Move. And we all move around. We all have to clean. Spring cleaning is here. And so Devra is going to give us lots of good tips on how to really clean up our life and get our spring cleaning and getting our moving, because moving can be such a pain, and helping us create great lives. And then I have Jason D. McKean. He is my co-host, and he is the voice of over 1 million Om recordings throughout the world. And he has a big line of Om records, and he has a new pop song too that it's just incredible, Jason. It's just so beautiful. And
thank you. Thank you, Tara.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to see him do more of that for sure. And then he also has a website with a lot of Om meditations on it as well. So welcome, Jason. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Devra.
Hi.
She's a great literary agent too, guys. So you have books. You now know who to come to.
Thank you. I'm here.
Okay, so tell us about how you decided to write this book, Devra.
I was actually in a conversation with what is now my publisher about they were going to be moving, and was talking to them about moving, and they said, wow, you really need to write a book, and we really need to publish this book. And I went, I'm not a writer. So I went to my best friend, Brett Elders, who is a professional writer, and said, I'll give you the information if you write the book. And so we wrote it together, and it's been a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what is the title of the book?
A Happy Move.
A Happy Move.
A Happy Move. Because that's what you want to have.
Oh, yes. Well, I would say that every move, there's such a anxiousness about it. I think people get really anxious, very frustrated. I mean, it takes a lot of time to do the right packing, all of it. What to take.
It's like one of the top stressors next to death and a divorce. Mm-hmm. So it's really important, but people don't tend to think about it until they have to do it.
Right.
What's the number one thing? What's the starting point for having a happy move?
Planning. Organizing. Like in the book, we walk you through in steps from before, during, and after, because if you plan it properly, it can be, fun and virtually stress-free. If you don't, then when all these things suddenly arise, you're going to go into panic. I mean, people end up fighting with their spouses. I mean, it's huge amount of stress, and so we walk through every aspect of it, from how to pack, how to purge your house, how to hire the right people to move you. And it's very well organized this way.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was hoping that you said was you read my book first. That's the absolute number one starting point.
You buy the book first.
Okay, you buy the book,
and then you
read it, and then you're like, you start.
Right.
One of the things we did different in this book from regular books is we made this book spiral bound, because there's all kinds of forms in the book to fill out. So you have everything right there at your fingertips. And it's just a really cool design.
Right. So it's a workbook almost, that you can keep track of what you're doing.
You can keep everything in one place. And as long as you throw your book in your suitcase with you, then you have everything that you're going to need on the other end as well.
Right. Well, I tend to think that if, when somebody's moving, that it's that last minute thing that's really hard, because, you know, people who lease homes or they're going to move into, say they're buying another home, you know, it's always like a timing. You have to get ready for something, but you know, you need your silverware until the last day. You need your, you know, you need certain things the last few days, but it's
Well,
basically
yeah,
packing.
we talk about that in the packing section of the book, because you have to have what I call the go box. You know, it's that last box where you know, and you mark everything according to what we say in the book. And you know, when you get to wherever it is, that box is going to hold your extra toothpaste, your shower soap, your shower curtain. How many times do people move and they get there and they want to take a shower and they're like, oh, now I got to go find a Walmart that's open at midnight.
Right.
You know, so you want to have everything in this one specific box that has the extra silverware, preferably plastic, so you can throw it away. But it has everything right there, so you're prepared.
Right. Right. Because, you know, because it's it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Last time that I moved, it was very funny. Was having a seminar in Sedona, and one of the guys that was there said, I would like to help you move. And I said, okay. Anyway, so when we were moving, he was deep in the storage unit I had, and grabbing stuff out, and somebody said, how did you get here? And he said, my spirit guides told me to help Tara move. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was just so cute, you know, that his spirit guides told him to help me move.
You know, and because I am metaphysical
Yeah.
like you are,
Yeah.
I always tell people, you know, you can utilize your gifts in this process.
Mm.
You know, when you're getting estimates from movers and they're coming out to your house, and you get that inner feeling of, I don't know about this company, don't hire them. You know, you're being told by your guides that this is going to go
Oh,
sideways.
yeah. Yeah. If you have red flags, you know, listen to those red flags.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I call those shamanic signs. When you have red flags, when things don't go easy, oh, please don't do them. Yeah, yeah. Or don't
Yeah,
hire.
the whole concept of it is for things to go easy.
Yes, that's the concept. That's concept. I love it. I do love it. Yeah. And but the thing is that I feel that moving is really a big progress for many people. I mean, you know, are they doing the right thing? Sometimes they're moving to places they don't really want to move to, but you know, that can be giving it a chance.
Well,
Giving,
and if you
yeah,
do it right, it's an adventure. It can be a journey. It doesn't have to be a, oh God, what? No, I don't know anything about this place. You know, we talk in the book with tips like if you're moving to in a city you've never been to, you know, on Facebook and find their local pages and ask questions. You know, what do you have going on there? What kind of schools are there? Who are the best doctors and dentists? And if you know these things before you ever arrive, then especially if you're moving with kids, which is can be really, really hard, you can have them excited, you know, about it.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I have a couple kids moving right now, so you know, it's been interesting, and it's interesting on the amount of time that you do give it. You know, what would you say would be the ideal amount of time for most people? Like 2 months, 3 months out?
You don't really need it if you buy the book.
Okay,
you,
right.
you can actually do it within 30 days
Okay,
to anywhere that you're going.
yeah,
You know, because you can pre-plan everything from packing, you know, moving, when they're going to pick up, when they're going to deliver, everything can be organized. Probably the most time consuming thing in anybody's move is the packing. And if you follow inspirations I offer in the book, you want to purge before you ever even buy a box. You know, get rid of all those things that don't serve you.
Yeah.
Or the furniture that you know it may or may not fit in your new location. You know, sell things, donate things. You know, I knew one woman who moved all the clothes that she had all the way back to high school. And she goes, but they're all, I still wear the same size. I said, but do you wear these clothes? Why? Most moves are priced, especially professional movers, by weight. Why move stuff that is going to weigh? I was thinking the other day about my daughter and I with kitchen stuff. We love kitchen stuff. But every time we move, we off that $9 toaster that we can buy new on the other end.
Right.
You know, anything like that that you don't need, get rid of it. And then you start packing in kind of an order of what you know you're not going to need. Like if it's July, you're not going to need your Christmas decorations,
Mhm.
you know, and you pack in
Yeah.
order of what it is.
What would you recommend for someone such as myself who has a very hard time like letting go of things? You know, because as an artist, as a musician, as it's like there's an accumulation of stuff. My wife hates it. You know, she's just like, you know, get rid of it. And it's like, no, I can't. It's a part of me.
She's very
Well,
tidy. She is
you
the tidiest person I know, I think.
But what about
you have
the
to
untidy?
balance. You have to balance. I have a pretty extensive rock and crystal collection. It's heavy,
That-
but am I going to
heavy.
part with it? Oh, no,
Yeah.
no way. So you figure out what has that purpose in your life. If it really doesn't, and you're just sort of hanging on to it because, oh, someday I might need this, then you need to get rid of it.
But what if, because I am that person, it's like, you know,
Mhm.
I hang on to stuff, you know, because sometimes it's supplies, you know, it's for the kind of the next project and all. It's like it's all important. And I'm
Well,
not
and
getting rid of
when
any of it.
but that's fine. You can keep it all, but you may want to think, depending on your budget,
All right.
do I want a DIY move? Do I want to do a pod move or a rental truck?
Mm.
Because if you're going to keep all that, it's going to weigh a lot, probably, you know, and you can keep it all, but you have to figure out, okay, what size truck am I going to move with that I need all this to fit in?
Big
And it's
truck,
planning.
a big like Mayflower, you know, like just semi.
I know. I've helped all the kids move. Gosh, all my stepkids back in the day move. I mean, we had the warehouse, a 5,000 square foot warehouse. We had different, you know, little, we'd rent, you know, all sorts of storage units. I mean, you name it,
But
we
that's again what you think
accumulating
about.
room
To
and stuff.
do, if you want it, you budget for it. You know, if you're gonna have to use a Mayflower United Van Lines, and they'll actually, this is part of the process of getting people to come out to your house to do estimates. The big legitimate companies, you want to get 3 estimates where they come out, they look at everything you got, and they figure out, and they're really good about this, figuring out how many boxes you're going to use, you know, what your weight's going to end up being. And then if you're going with a legitimate company, in the contract, you always read the fine print of the contract, they can only charge you a certain percentage above their estimate. So you may find, yeah, it's worth an extra $500 or $1,000 to keep all my goodies. A lot of people don't. I mean, I've kind of got it down to where I can pack an entire 3-bedroom house in about 48 hours.
Whew.
Wow.
You've
Wow.
done this how many
That
times? How many
is
moves?
I've done
impressive.
29 big moves and a lot of little moves just between houses and apartments.
Wow.
But, you know, and if you pack yourself, there's like, I've got all these videos that I've been putting up on YouTube. on our a Happy Move book page on YouTube.
Is that what it's called on YouTube?
Yeah,
Like
a
if you go to
Happy
Happy,
Move book. And you can see ways to pack, things that I've learned along the way, learned very young watching my parents move. They always had professional movers, and I just watched what they did and went, oh, I didn't know you could wrap your furniture and it would keep it from getting scratched. I didn't know you only put heavy stuff on the bottom, and I didn't know, you've got to pack all the way to a solid top so you don't have crushing. I've learned this over these 29 moves, and so I try to share with people, most breakage comes from the vibration of the truck, not the way you pack.
Right.
So if you pack, keep out all your sweaters and sweatshirts and t-shirts and all that for packing material, because it reduces your vibration.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of tricks there.
Yeah, that's what I did when I moved from the ranch. I have my house in town and then my ranch house, but it was, yeah, use everything to pack with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The packing materials do not have to be an expensive part of your move. People think they do. The most expensive part of your packing materials is getting your boxes, and you can get them really cheap at places like Home Depot. I always recommend buying new boxes. So when you go to load that truck, everything's uniform and it isn't going to shift and move when you stop fast. Or you're not putting together a puzzle when you're trying to load the truck and you're like, these boxes they're not uniform. So I always tell people, go ahead and invest in that. But for packing material, go hit a recycling place for newspapers. If you're on a budget, there's lots of ways.
Right. Because since we don't really have newspapers anymore, there's not a lot of newspaper to use anymore. Remember, that was the big thing, is to use newspaper.
I like the paper that you just buy, the packing paper, because the newspaper, you get black all over everything.
yeah, the ink. As a literary agent, it's like, are you happy that the ebook exists? Because, like schlepping around books, those are heavy. Those boxes of books, once you start
that's my
I know, it's like Tara has 1 million books. I have a whole bookcase of just Civil War books, that are history. And it's just like, oh my God, that's why I've lived here for 20 years, because I don't want to pack those up and schlep them around.
I think I'm old school. I like a book I can hold on to and turn the pages. If people have like the newer iPads, I think you can actually get a Kindle book and write in it on the iPads. So that would be okay for the forms that are in this book. But I like having the physical book, especially on a move. When I get to the other end and they haven't turned on my utilities, I want to be able to pop that book open, know exactly who to call, what my account number is, the date that they were supposed to turn it on, and be able to yell at somebody, not have to try and find an 800 number and do the whole connection thing. And what was my account? When was it's all proper planning.
And that's part of your book, as far as letting people know that, reminding them, right, that it's like when you get to your new place, it's like you have to turn on these services. And
absolutely, there's forms in this for everything.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
It's who your utility company is prior to moving, which is equally as important, because you want to make sure their turn off date happens. And the new company that you're moving to, everything from banking, doctors, dentists, vets, homeopaths, you want everything. So when you get to that new place and you go in to see that new doctor, and they say, well, where do we send the referral for your records? You go, wait a minute, let me grab my book. It's right here.
Right. Being organized.
And
Feeling good about it.
Yeah, with utilities, I always, some of the tips in there is don't have utilities set for the date you're supposed to move.
Right.
Because the movers may not show up. You may be there for 2 more days.
Right, right, right.
Do you acquire stuff that, like, do you have like a predisposition where it's like if something weighs too much, it's like you're already thinking ahead, saying, you know what, I don't want to have to move this. I don't want to have to like,
Oh, I wish I did. Every time, every time I move, I start acquiring more stuff. I collect dragons, I collect angels, I collect gnomes. I mean,
uh-huh.
those are my special little things, and it doesn't matter what they weigh, they're going with me.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
I
and
and I
I've
have a record collection. I don't have a turntable anymore, but I'm
My
gonna
God.
get one.
yeah,
Well,
I
they
have a
got
big,
them.
yeah, my big thing of a big purchase that I didn't take with me that I wish I'd take, I still can get. I'm in touch with the people to have it, but it was a big bear. I had one of those big, huge bears, at the ranch.
Uh,
And I just was like, oh, how am I going to get this down to, the other house? And so I did leave it with some people. They came with a tractor and moved it, it was like, I should just have the tractor, go down.
and it's
Through
important
May.
to know that for international moves.
Mhm.
And we have a section in the book on the international moves. I moved to Korea, and while I was in Korea, I bought the most
Wow.
gorgeous hand-carved wooden living room set.
Oh,
What I found out was I couldn't afford to bring it back. I had to leave it in Korea.
right. See, that would be just heartbreaking. Yeah.
It
When you have
was.
something is so beautiful, right? And have to leave it behind. The bear is not, it's so beautiful, but it was fun.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
And you mentioned that like you were part of a military family. Is that why you were like moving around?
Well, I was briefly married to the Army.
Okay.
But that was only for like 5 years, which encompassed 4 moves in that 5 years.
Wow.
And
Mm.
because of the experiences I had with the military moves, we put a chapter in the book for military moves. And there's a whole reference guide at the back of the book where you can go to and find more support for all kinds of different things. But on the military move, that was only 5 years of my life. I think I'm just a born gypsy.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm definitely somebody who moves around a lot in the world. I mean, like on planes all the time. And I mean, as Jason knows, it's like sub for me because, I'm leaving, everything's but I accumulate, we just accumulated another center, a treatment room, I'm an accumulator. But now it's like, moving is just like that I don't like to do. I don't like to move my house.
Nobody likes to move. I mean, it's not a yay, I get to move again. It's
No.
always a, oh Lord, where do I start for a move?
It can be
Whether you,
exciting.
yeah, it can be very exciting. For me, it's always an adventure. I mean, I do stupid things like I was in Arizona and I really didn't like where I was. And I looked at my daughter who was probably like 12 back then, and I said, I think we're going to get on Interstate 40 and go east until we hit the ocean. And she was like, okay. She knew, by then in her life, she knew we were moving all the time. And we packed up a U-Haul and
Yeah.
stayed on 40 and ended up living on an island off of North Carolina because that's where the road ended. So I kind of do these wanderlust kind of things. I got wiped out by a hurricane in North Carolina.
Well,
And
North Carolina can, yeah.
I'm like, where are we gonna go next? I was offered a job in Seattle. It was like, well, we lost everything in the hurricane, so sure, fly us out.
Mhm.
It's I think these things come up for people that they aren't expecting. They get offered a job, or they graduate college and get offered a job cross country. I mean, you're always moving.
Yeah. Always. I know. Some people just really, move. And then some people stay and never leave their town. Never leave.
Climate wise, it's like, going from a place like, North Carolina to Seattle, right? It's like there's a change in weather and the environment. So, it's like you have to be open to that, right?
Well, it's really important when you're moving to be aware of the climate. When I moved, that move from North Carolina to Seattle, I didn't think about checking the weather. We landed in the worst snowstorm that ever had in Seattle, and we're stuck at the airport for 5 days.
Oh,
Another move we made to North Carolina, because I've done that 3 times. I love the Carolinas.
Yeah. Pretty.
We didn't check the weather as we were driving cross country. And if we had checked while we were going through Oklahoma, we could have gotten a hotel and stayed a night and avoided what we did, which was pulling in the middle of a hurricane.
Oh my God. Or
So-
tornado.
Weather is important.
Right.
yeah. Do you cover, some of that as far as, part of the pre, like if it is like winter time, let's say, right? It's like, moving from a more southern climate to a northern climate. It's like, make sure that you're preparing for, getting to a climate that it's going to be different. It's going to have its own, trickiness.
And I found out moving to the south from the west is some things you pack, you want to actually put rice in with your boxes, because if they're going to be stored for any period of time on a truck in humidity, things are going to mildew. When we moved to North Carolina the first time, we arrived literally the night before 9/11. We didn't see our stuff for 8 weeks. When some of the stuff got there, because of where this truck had been parked, during the catastrophes that were going on, a lot of the stuff was damp. So really check where it is you're going. And that brings in international moves too. We find out what the weather may be like. One of the people I was talking to about moving, he moved to Costa Rica, and it was winter in Minnesota, and he was wearing a sweater and a heavy coat, and he landed, he almost died at the airport from the heat. So all these little things is what I really tried to cover in the book.
Right. Well, and then you have your one, like I have one child moving to Europe, and it's like she's leaving all her stuff with me.
She needs
"Oh,
this book.
Take this. Yeah. Oh yeah. She does need this book.
There
But
are
she's
things,
almost there. She's leaves in a few weeks. So
there are things with international moves that I learned from my trip to Korea. When you're moving to another country, learn their language.
mhm.
Find out what's available, what isn't. I landed in Korea in the village that I was actually going to be living in. Nobody spoke English.
Mhm.
I was completely ill prepared. And that it's a nice thing to do as Americans. It shows respect.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, she has, but yeah. So I don't. She doesn't have to worry that way. But
That's awesome.
the thing is that, oh my gosh, that would be just that would be lonely, maybe even in somewhere like Korea.
It can be frustrating when my daughter had just turned 2 the day we flew to Korea. I had some diapers in my suitcase. I figured when I got there, I'd go buy diapers. I didn't know they didn't sell diapers.
Oh, they didn't. They
No,
just
this
diapers.
was back in the 80s, but it was like, you don't use diapers?
No, they probably didn't use
No,
plastic.
potty training in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
Luckily, she was 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So was there a move, a particular move that stands out as far as like one that was just like a really like horrible experience or
I
memorable?
have
And
to.
Yeah.
what
Kind of
were they, Deborah?
those. That's how you learn, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully when you use the book, you won't have to go through. When you read some of the stories that my daughter and I went through on some of these moves, you're gonna be like, I don't know how they ever moved again after that.
Right.
One of them, my daughter was reminding me of the other day was, well, we were in Seattle area. We hadn't seen the sun in like 6 months.
Mhm.
It's like, this is horrible. We're gonna rent a truck. We're gonna get on Interstate 101 and we're gonna head south until we find sun. And so we rented that. We got the trailer to pull the car. I never thought to ask anybody for how do you back up a truck when you have a trailer?
Oh no.
Well, we hit the worst rain in Northern California, found this place in the dark to pull over. It was like a rest stop. We get parked and everything. And then when the sun came out, I couldn't get out of the parking spot. I had no idea that when you back up a truck, you have the opposite
Yeah.
direction to get the trailer to go the way you want to. And
Mhm.
all these truck drivers were parked in the same place were laughing at me as I'm trying to figure out how to MacGyver my way out of this parking space. So, that one taught me really quickly. Ask, don't assume you can figure this stuff out. Ask, get them to drive you around the parking lot before you leave.
Mm,
Know what this big thing you're suddenly getting in is gonna do.
right.
So did any of those truck drivers help? Did they like,
Well,
Yes. I
eventually.
would still be there if it wasn't for the kindness of one truck driver who came up. He was like from the south and he was like, ma'am, can I help you get out of this? Yeah, he jumped to the truck in like 2 seconds. Boom, boom, I was out.
Good.
yeah, it's like if that happened today, right? It's like, they would just, everyone pull out their phone and just video
And
you,
film it.
like,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
And laugh at you.
can anyone just help?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've run into some crazy things with needing assistance because I wasn't smart enough to ask ahead of time. We were coming down the mountain out of Flagstaff, going to California,
Mhm.
pulling a car on a trailer, and my daughter said, something feels weird. Well, the car was trying to come off the trailer on an interstate
Oh,
at
God.
60 miles an hour.
Oh
We
no.
ended up pulling over. We were stuck for 3 hours in 120-degree heat with two dogs, a cat, my daughter, my granddaughter, and myself, waiting for somebody from the company to come put the car back on the trailer and secure it.
Oof, that sounds brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah,
I
but I could have
usually make,
simply asked.
yeah, yeah. I usually make when I'm going across the desert, if I have the dogs with me or kids, I make an what I call a iceberg, and I take bags of ice and put it into a black bag and put it in the back seat so that that ice, at least we have that ice to melt if
So
something
that's
weird like
that's
that
very
happens.
smart.
Oh
We
God.
had a cooler, but when you have three, you have all these people in a
The
truck
dogs. Yeah.
and two dogs in your lap, it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to figure out where you're going to put the cooler. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and if you have stuff, if you're moving, right, it's like you're gonna just
Mhm.
pack it to the gills anyway, right?
well, when you're doing a DIY move, you have your stuff with you.
Hmm.
It's all right there in the truck with you. So you're not thinking as much like when I done cross country moves and I'm driving my SUV, the back of the SUV has the cooler, has the air mattresses, has the silverware, the coffee pot, everything I'm gonna need because I don't know when, my TV's in there, my computer's in there.
Were you gonna have room for all that nice Korean furniture anyway? you know, like later on.
I would have made room. It was beautiful. I had each of the arms were hand carved lion heads,
Oh man.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
it was heavy.
Well, someone
Yeah,
scored.
heavy. I
Yep.
have stuff like that.
See, I would have a really hard time because I'm a Leo. I would have a really hard time letting go of that. It'd
You
be
would have
like,
stayed in Korea with your
I'm
furniture.
just, I'm a fixture in Korea now. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
because of a couch.
because of a couch, my couch,
Right.
mine. Don't anyone come near me.
I love it. I took my parents had just passed away right before I moved to San Diego, and they had all this gorgeous old furniture, and I'm like, I am not getting rid of this. And I paid a fortune to move to San Diego. Within the first week I was there, I had to sell it all. I had no place for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proper planning.
Well, I've done that too. I've just too many, I start to spread out to too much stuff in too many places.
I
Yeah.
think, one of the things with this book, even if you're not going to be moving or you don't think you're going to be moving, you should read the book anyway. Because when my parents passed away, literally, we had the largest dumpster you could get in their driveway, and we filled it just with stuff to throw away. So that's sort of when I made the decision. We were talking before the show about living minimalistic. Um, I decided I would never do that to my daughter. So I constantly go through, and things that are not precious to me, I get rid of. I want to know that if I suddenly had to move, that I could throw it all in a truck, have it packed and be gone really quickly and not have any access. Or God forbid something happened to me. She wouldn't have to go through everything.
Well, I have like horses. That's been like, okay, like my kids don't all ride. So what am I going to do someday, when I cross over and with my horses, because I don't seem to like going out of not riding horses. So the thing is that you make decisions for them,
Yeah,
where they're
yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ride. I'm not going to take
You're
on your
not taking
horses.
them.
I'm not going to start mucking stalls. That's not my thing.
Yeah,
My real job.
we have animals. We have 2 dogs and a cat, and a chameleon.
Oh, look at that.
So,
Does the chameleon, does it
Change.
interact with the with the others?
no, no. My
Okay.
my daughter is like a chameleon expert, and you should have seen us trying to move with the chameleon. That was fun.
Well, tell
Uh,
us what
well,
happened.
well, because she is an expert, she knew exactly how you're supposed to box them, and they go to sleep, and you have to mist them every so many hours. And when you get to hotels, you got to open them up, and if they're awake, you have to feed them and mist them. And she knew all this stuff, which it can. This is why there's a whole chapter on pets in the book,
Right. Yeah.
because pets are hard to move sometimes.
Mhm.
There's a story in there about the screaming cat that my daughter wanted to leave at McDonald's, because it was screaming in the car going cross country for 4 hours. But if you think about things like that ahead of time, then you know what your animal is going to be like. You know whether or not you need to take them to a vet and get tranquilizers, or
Frank.
stock up on the homeopathic rescue remedies.
Right.
That's a great book
I like
title. The Screaming Cat at McDonald's.
that.
I would read that.
The story was pretty funny. When you read it in the book, it was pretty funny. I ended up with the cat in my car for the next day and a half.
Yeah, I bet. So have you moved lately? Are you staying put? You think, what are you doing?
And I say this very cautiously because every time I make comments like this, suddenly I am crabby
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
But we've actually been in the same place for 3 years. In May, it'll be 3 years. Longest I've ever been in one location. But I promised my granddaughter when we moved here that we would not move until she graduated college.
Okay.
Unless I win the lottery.
She doesn't want to move.
No, she was so tired of being drugged around. My daughter was used to it. My granddaughter hated it. And so I made a commitment. We will stay in the same place. Now, will I stay in the same building? Probably not.
Yeah. see?
But because I got to get that shifted energy and
Mhm.
but I will be staying here for at least another 3.5 years till she graduates.
Yeah. I know. I gotta settle in, I like settling in and then going off from where my home base is.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because I'm a Taurus, and normally Taurians
Oh,
want
yeah.
a home and they want their place. And I don't know where my planets are, but they're obviously not in Taurus.
Well, it's the
I,
ascendant in your Mars probably, so you have movement there.
I like renting. I like, okay, 30 days notice, bye.
See ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, there's a freedom in that too, as far as like, you're not just locking yourself into a particular place, unless you need to really hunker in and, fulfill something that's already like set out. But if you're in that space of like, okay, what's the next? What's the next? It's like, gives you some freedom to move about and to, see what you like.
My daughter's always saying what we need to do is buy a house and take vacations.
Yeah.
Then you get to travel. Because the only vacations we've had in like the last 25 years are when we move.
Okay.
So we need that. Be in one place and go travel around Europe, but come home. And I'm just trying to get myself in the mindset. I got 3 years to get myself in that mindset.
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there a particular part of the country that you like that you would gravitate towards?
I love northern Arizona. I mean, I've moved back to northern Arizona 4 times. I
Hmm.
love the beaches in North Carolina. It's just the hurricanes love me every single time I've moved there. In fact, the last 15 years, the only time they've gotten hit by hurricanes was within weeks of me moving there. So it's like, it's Devra, she's back.
Hurricane magnet.
Yeah, you're a magnet.
Yeah, I've been through tornadoes in Alabama and Texas, so not really keen on doing that again. At least a hurricane, you get enough notice, you can get out of its way. Sometimes you can get out of its way.
Yeah.
But I love northern Arizona. It's pretty, you get the seasons, it's not hot like it is in southern Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah, you have some elevation there.
Yeah, I lived in Sedona, I've lived in Prescott, I've lived all over northern Arizona.
I think I met you when you lived in Prescott, maybe.
I think so. Well, I came over to Sedona a couple of times you were over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think you were maybe living in Prescott.
yeah.
Maybe or maybe in LA. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's great. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like when I run into somebody and they go, "Where do I know you from?" I'm like, "Have you ever lived here, 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 here?"
Right. Right. Oh my gosh.
Well, you could say, yes, actually, I have lived in all of those places, so I don't know.
Yeah. Instead of
I,
vacationing, you lived there.
I've never done the northern states because I really hate snow.
Okay.
So never done any of the northern states.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Like
you did Seattle,
me.
you did Washington.
Yeah, but that's still the West.
Yeah, that still doesn't.
I'm talking like Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin. Yeah, any place that it's gonna stay below 30 degrees for any length of time, Korea cured me of that.
Mm.
Yeah, I was gonna say Korea probably was like that very much.
It was like, you got excited when it snowed because it meant it was warm enough to snow.
Right, that's in like in Alaska. It does the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, be in the
Flagstaff, you get
20s.
snow, but it melts, you know?
Yeah, because we did the same thing. If it's in the 20s, it's gonna snow. But yeah, if it's gonna go cold, it just goes cold.
Yeah, I don't like cold. I am not a snow bunny.
Yeah. Well, you have to dress, and your liver has to be working. That's what I've found. People have to have a good liver for the heat or the snow.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm having so much fun with you guys.
I know, isn't it fun? Yeah, it's been great to have you on the show. Yeah, so tell us again, it's a happymovebook.com. What's the
So
actual?
the website is ahappymove.com.
Okay.
Oh, and we're having a contest.
What's a contest?
I want
Ca-
people to know about the contest. If you
Are
get-
we eligible to win or?
Or to move. Are you
You
gonna
are eligible, anybody's eligible to win. There's no purchase necessary to enter, although we do hope you buy the book. But if you go to the website, I mean, we're giving away all kinds of stuff, $100 gift certificates for U-Haul, a box full of moving supplies, books from one of the publishers. So while you're waiting for your stuff, you and your kids have something to read. Starbucks gift
Hunter's
cards.
gonna move. Maybe he needs that box from U-Haul.
There's a box of all kinds of stuff for relaxation for your first night there with bubble bath and creams and all kinds of stuff. But it's fun. So
Is there a grand prize at all? As far as do you have like your daughter like is going to go help you move? Is that like the grand prize or?
no, the grand prize is this box of moving supplies. I mean, it's got everything,
That's
bubble
fantastic.
wrap, paper, knife for opening your boxes. You wouldn't believe how many people get moved and they forgot to keep out a knife to open the box.
Right.
God,
The box.
so important.
So, I mean, stuff like that. I know it can
Yeah.
be, or, just minimal stuff that you forget.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Do you have like an Instagram or a Facebook as well? A happy move?
Facebook is a happy move. Everything is just a happy move except YouTube. YouTube is a happy move book.
And your
But all of
Instagram too.
Pardon me?
Your Instagram is a happy move book. That's where I got the document.
Yeah, if that one's a happy, I forgot about that.
Happy move.
But like all the videos that are on YouTube are also on our website.
Mhm.
So it's easy to watch.
Okay, great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. That so many people are going to be helped, and their nerves won't be frayed when they move.
I would love to see realtors get this book to give to clients.
Right.
You know,
Right. That would be great.
What a help that would be.
Yeah, you should do a little a postcard to each, to realtors.
I did that.
You did. Yeah, that would be really good. That would be really good. Yeah. So yeah, and then you have Deanette's book coming out.
Yes.
Devra is an agent, a literary agent. So Deanette Wells, she's an incredible friend, and I've known her, gosh, I don't know how long now, long time. And she's an adventure racer, and she's climbed the 7 summits and Everest a few times, Mount Everest.
Yeah, her book title, I'm so proud to represent this woman. She is amazing. Is called Another Step Up the Mountain. And it's available for pre-order now. It'll be released Mother's Day. But it's an incredible story of this woman and what she does and has done and climbing all the peaks in the world. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I have fun stories about her, because she may not, I don't know if she wrote about it in the book or not, but we went to an exercise class for 14 years together on every Thursday morning, and she So one day she was complaining about something, and I said, well, why don't you do a spaghetti dinner for that friend of yours? Her daughter has cystic fibrosis, and who just recently died. They loved this child. And so she said, oh, yeah, that sounds like it would be okay, you know, and didn't sound that all happy about it. But so she went home, and then she created the dolphin ball, which gained $90,000 for cystic fibrosis.
Wow.
You know, but she's just a dynamo. And then when she was first rappelling off of Point Doom in Malibu, she said that called me, and she said, please, Tara, come right now. You have to, you know, I have to be hypnotized right now. So I said, I'll hypnotize you on the phone. I was in the middle of cooking dinner, and it was like, you know, for the whole family. And I said, okay, close your eyes. And, you know, I took her through that, you know, she wouldn't look down the mountain. She just really loved rappelling off the Point Doom cliffs. And that's when she got the bug of starting to climb, you know, all the mountains. And now she's climbed the 7 summits of the world.
When you read this book,
Yeah, I'm gonna love it.
I got tired by chapter 4 because I was like reading this, and of course it's written so well that you're right there with her in these experiences. And I kept having to put it down. It was like, I'm exhausted. But it's a great book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a great, yeah, one of my best friends for a very long time. Yeah. It's been great.
And again, that book is titled
Another Step Up the Mountain.
Another Step Up the Mountain. Yeah,
Beautiful.
she's had a lot of crazy experiences, of course.
Oh, I'm sure you will be having her on your show.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And her website is DeAnnetteWells.com.
Okay, great.
Is that just WELLS?
Yes. Good luck with the DNet. I have to write it too.
Yeah, DNet. She was a twin.
DeAnnetteWells.com.
Fantastic. And again, your book, A Happy Move.
Happy Move.
Happy Move. I love this book.
And it's spiral bound so that it's easy access. There's forms. It's just like you read it, you plan ahead so that your move is effortless.
That's the goal. Absolutely.
Well, the next book is spring cleaning, I think. You know, I mean, you have a whole series there you could do on tons of, you know.
I'll write one for you that's how to purge when I don't want to.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. Well, that's my problem too.
Well, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
all right.
You and my wife. Ugh.
All right. ahappymove.com is Devra. Jason is jasondmckean.com, and that's JASOND.
D as in Dragon Lord McKean, MCKEAN.com.
Right. And I'm Tara Insight, TARAINSIGHT.com. And there's a new center. Jason's working out of it too. So we'll be in and out of there. Some new wonderful classes. We have a treatment room. So yeah, it's going to be great. It's in Los Angeles. Yeah.
How wonderful.
Yes. So thank you for being on the show, Devra.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you,
This has
Devra.
been so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. And Jason, yeah, thank you for being on the show today. Love you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
All right. Let's see.